If you'd have told me 7 years ago that I'd be spending my time debunking a man sat outside his cabin trying to convince us that Bigfoot is real, then I would have laughed at you and said, don't be silly. But alas, this is very much the case, as today we meet a man who thinks that Bigfoot is an actual living creature. Hello all and welcome along to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, SciManDan. Thank you very much for joining me. Before we begin today though, a quick word from me about today's sponsor, Extra Wallets. Extra is known for inventing the first trackable wallet, and now they're on a mission to upgrade the rest of your carry essentials with sustainable wallets, bags and accessories that help you get more out of your day. Now it's half the size of a conventional wallet, but it carries over 12 cards plus cash. Now you can access all of your cards at the click of a button with the signature trigger mechanism here. It's also got built-in RFID blocking, and that protects you from data theft and wireless skimming. And it's made from environmentally friendly materials, like vegan Italian leather and space-grade aluminium. And I have to say, the brand new card holder is a serious upgrade on the old one. It's much more durable and the trigger mechanism seems smoother as well. On top of that, it stores more cards and also, well, look, it's gorgeous compared to the old one. It looks smarter, sleeker, and honestly, every time I use it, I always get questions about it. Now, Extra are having a Black Friday sale with 50% off, but all of you using my code SciManDan can get up to 55% off. Just click the link in the description and use my code SciManDan to get your 55% off. Right, on with today's video, which comes from a channel called Cabin in the Woods. Now, he is going to give us 6 reasons that the famous Patterson-Gimlin clip is authentic. This one is already going to be an instant classic. I can feel it. Away we go.
Give me an open mind and a little bit of your time, and I'll prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the famous Bigfoot footage, known as the Patterson-Gimlin film, is 100% real, authentic, and shows a living Sasquatch.
Well, I don't doubt that it was real in that it was actually filmed, but I do have some reservations about the subject of the video being a real Sasquatch.
Most people know about the Patterson-Gimlin film, of course. Most people have seen it many times at this point. Most people are aware it was shot in 1967 by 2 men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, in Northern California. Most people also know that since the film was released to the public, it's been the subject of a hot debate, with many people trying to debunk it over the years to prove that it was just a man in a suit on camera, and an equal number of people on the other side of the fence trying to demonstrate that the film is authentic and does depict what it claims to depict, a living Bigfoot creature.
A creature that has only appeared on camera once with this level of detail. Hardly substantial evidence of its existence.
In this video, I'm going to explain in detail why I feel the evidence weighs much more strongly on the side of the film being authentic and showing a real, live Sasquatch.
Fair enough. Take it away, my friend.
First of all, we have biomechanics and gait. According to anthropologist and primate expert Dr. Jeff Meldrum, the bent knee propulsion that we see from the creature in the film would be impossible, or at the very least highly impractical for a human being, especially one in a heavy rubber suit. But even an unsuited human being, we're just not built to propel ourselves forward with that bent knee stride that you see from the creature in the film. Any attempt to do so would look very awkward, clumsy, and unnatural. And yet, for non-human primates, bent knee propulsion is much more natural. And that's why we see this natural, graceful walk from the creature in the film, even though that same style of walking for a human would look the exact opposite of graceful.
Well, as a runner, I know that if you are running on your midfoot, then bent knee propulsion is a must. Otherwise you go nowhere. Same with front foot running. Now, I know in that quote they're not running, but listen to this quote from costume designer Philip Morris. When you're wearing long clown's feet, you can't place the ball of your foot down first. You have to put your foot down flat, otherwise you'll stumble. So if this was indeed then a costume with larger feet than the person had inside the costume, then they would have had to place their foot down in a similar manner. Now this would certainly mean that when you're walking with a long stride, you would definitely walk as that Bigfoot does in the video.
We also have stride length within the propulsion and gait category. The footprints cast by Patterson and Gimlin after they filmed the creature had a 41-inch stride length on average, which is a much longer stride than an average human could comfortably copy.
Well, actually it's not. I'm 6'3", almost 6'4", and I can comfortably stride that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the analysis of the Patterson-Gimlin video showed that the creature in question was around 6'3" tall. So the stride length then is unsurprising.
Even a taller than average human. 41 inches is a very long stride. I mean, I'm 6 feet tall. I attempted some 41-inch strides before making this video. I just wouldn't look nearly as graceful as the subject of the film does, even at my height and with rather long legs. It's just not doable for human beings in the graceful manner that we see in the film.
You absolutely cannot say that. Some humans are over 7 foot tall, and they would have easily been able to replicate the manner of that walking in the video. And actually, take a look at this clip from the corridor crew. This is a clip of the man who claimed to be the person in the suit, walking in a manner like the creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film. That looks pretty bang on to me.
Next we have muscle movement beneath the skin. We're pretty good at making realistic monkey and monster suits nowadays for Hollywood movies, but we still haven't mastered the ability to recreate authentic muscle movement, the flexing and changing of shape and hardness of muscles that we see beneath the skin of real creatures, ourselves included. But in the Patterson-Gimlin film, you can clearly see that we have flexing calf muscles as the creature propels itself forward with each footstep.
Sorry, I think you and I have very different definitions of the word clearly. The film in question was filmed at around 18 frames per second at a resolution of 480p at best. How are you seeing this?
We see flexing thigh muscles, we see glute muscles changing and flexing, and we see rippling back muscles.
But you could just as well argue that this is light reflecting off the hairs of the suit.
None of those would be recreatable with a suit, even a really authentic one. In fact, according to two different veteran Hollywood special effects specialists, Bill Munns and John Chambers, the sort of muscle flexing beneath the skin quality that we see in the Patterson-Gimlin film would be extremely difficult and most likely impossible for a human being in a suit to replicate. Great,
but did either of those two people sell a suit to Patterson in the days prior to the filming of that video? Because the guy I quoted earlier, Philip Morris, did. Now, Morris claimed that he sold an ape suit to Patterson in 1967, thinking it was going to be used for some sort of prank. Not only that, but Morris said that Patterson also phoned him, asking him how to make the shoulders more massive and the arms longer. And Morris suggested that whoever wore the suit should wear American football shoulder pads and sticks in the arms. All of a sudden, your not a suit theory isn't fitting very well.
That's why both of those veteran Hollywood suit makers feel that the subject of the film was not a man in a suit. Next we have body proportions. It's obvious to anyone who has seen the film that the arms of the subject are a lot longer in proportion to its body length than the arms of a human.
Not for a human holding sticks in the arms, as Morris suggested.
In fact, several recreation attempts with humans in suits have failed for just this reason, because the arms of the human in the suit always look comically short in comparison to the actual Patterson-Gimlin film.
I agree on that, but there's nothing to suggest that the suit did not have arms longer than human arms, and the person inside was just not reaching all the way down to the bottom. Hence the sticks.
And the natural swing of those arms as well looks like it's not just some sort of prosthetics in sleeves. The movement is too smooth and too natural for that. We also see very different torso to leg length ratios in the Patterson-Gimlin film than we would in a regular human being.
Do we? I don't think we do. I think it looks pretty bang on.
And any suit being worn by a human that would try to hide that fact would look comical. If you've seen a man in a gorilla suit, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And that ties in nicely with the next reason the film is authentic: a lack of credible hoax evidence.
Hang on, let me go back a second. This was not a monkey suit. It was a gorilla suit designed to look like a Bigfoot, a species of animal that does not exist. You cannot compare it to other actors in monkey suits.
As I said, many people have tried to debunk this film. There was even a team attached to the BBC, and I don't remember all the details right now, that spent weeks trying to recreate a suit identical to what they believed was the suit in the film. And then they tried to recreate the same camera angles and lighting, and they had an actor in the suit walk along in the same path that Patty, the creature in the film, walked in the original, and it just looked silly. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It didn't look anything like the real film because it was a man in a suit.
But that specifically does not debunk the hoax idea, does it? They've just got the suit wrong, or the person inside was not the right frame, etc, etc. There are a variety of reasons as to why that might have looked different. You can't hang your hat on that proving it was a real Bigfoot.
And even the best production of a suit that was possible at that time by this well-funded broadcasting company could not recreate what they felt was a suit in the original film. That's because it wasn't a suit. The original film showed a real live creature. The details and the realism of the creature make that obvious. We have, as I said earlier, muscle movement. We have a facial structure that doesn't look like any sort of rubber mask in any way, shape, or form.
I found this on Facebook. That actually looks alarmingly like the creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film. That took me 30 seconds to find.
The next reason the film is authentic is the behavioral realism we see from the creature. If it were just a man in a suit, he probably wouldn't have acted so nonchalant. If he were trying to portray this Bigfoot creature, this savage animal that exists in the minds and imagination of many people.
That's Kong, a giant gorilla, not a Bigfoot.
Then he probably would have roared or growled or acted more aggressive in some way, because it's almost more believable if he had done that.
Yes, if I would have seen a video of a Bigfoot type creature waving his arms around and kicking off and making loud noises, then I probably would have said fake. Now that would not have been more believable for me. If I was faking a video like this, I would be trying to make it as plausible as possible. I think the people faking it knew this, which is why they went for the casual walking off.
But instead, we have this creature slowly, nonchalantly walking away from the camera, turning once to glance back at the men filming her. And that's just not as believable as the more animalistic approach that we see from Hollywood movies and that sort of thing.
Yes, and if you think that, it's not too much of a stretch to believe that Patterson and Gimlin thought that as well.
To put it another way, the creature's body language in the film doesn't seem forced. It seems natural. It really does appear like an animal in its native environment, moving easily and comfortably through that environment.
Yes, it really does.
And finally, for anyone who has any lingering doubts about the film's authenticity,
nope, no doubts. It's a fake.
Many respected scientists have come forward with statements in support of the film being authentic. Here are some of them. Dr. Grover Krantz, a physical anthropologist at Washington State University.
Okay, fair enough, but scientists can be wrong. And Krantz actually initially said it was a man in a gorilla suit before he changed his mind.
Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who we already mentioned, an autonomist and anthropologist at Idaho State University.
Yeah, Meldrum apparently wrote a paper on it. Weird though that can be debunked by a man who claimed he wore the suit walking next to the video in exactly the same manner.
Dr. Dmitry Donskoy, a biomechanics expert at the Russian Academy of Sciences.
Well, apparently he said that it was all natural movement and not imitated. Look, I'm sure a fair few scientists have said that they believe that film is legitimate and that Bigfoot was real. But that's the same with most things. Most scientists say that it's a man in a gorilla suit, and the evidence suggests that as well. The sale of the suit in the days leading up to the film. The man who claimed to be inside the suit walking just like the Bigfoot in the video. On the whole, I like this guy, Cabin in the Woods, and he makes some fair points. I just think they're not enough to convince me that it is a real video. So there we go. What do you all think of that one? Let me know in the comments below what you think of that video. Do you think it's definitely real? Is it definitely a Bigfoot? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, we're all done and dusted for another Tinfoil Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching. It is appreciated. As always, if you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button too, and share it to your friends if the feeling takes you. Thank you so much. Just enough time for another word from me about today's sponsor. Remember, they're having a Black Friday sale with 50% off, but if you use my code SciManDan, you can get 55% off. Just click the link in the description. I've been SciManDan. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you all on Friday for the return of CC, Chris from New York, Westchester County. He is back, and he is as angry as ever. See you then.